What's going on, guys? My name is Kev. This new AI tool just came out that absolutely changes how AI agents work forever. And it's called Airtop, and it allows our AI agents on n8n to have their own computer, which we program. And in this video, I'm going to show you my AI agent that has access to its own computer and what it does. And then we're going to build it from scratch. But most importantly, guys, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about Airtop. We're going to open up the n8n automation that we have. And this n8n automation is a computer agent that has access to my Instagram. So what you're seeing on the left-hand screen is the agent's live view. And what you're seeing on the right-hand screen is all the different tools that the AI agent has access to. So first, guys, let's show you how this demo works. So I'm going to type, can you please scrape 10 Instagram reels? We're going to send this message in. And so the AI agent gets that first message and it launches the Instagram session. The Instagram session has been launched and it passed it to the launch URL step to actually give us that live URL. So now we can go inside of the live URL dropdown and grab that live URL to show you guys what is actually happening on the screen. So if I copy this URL and we head over to the left-hand side and we open it up, we can now see the actual screen that the AI agent has access to. You're literally just gonna see the agent scroll through the different Instagram posts as I instructed it to, and it's just going to scrape the data and get all that information. So you could literally just saw it scroll through that first post there, and we will literally just be able to see this thing go through all of these different scrolls. But by the time it finishes these scrolls, guys, it's actually going to give us the end result in the text. And just like that, guys, in the caption, we get reel 1, which is encouraging upgrades to a better turbo, comes with the audio, the location, the views, and the comments. And if we wanted to, we can then store all this information in our operating system for our AI agency clients. But in this example, guys, I'm just showing you guys the power of this tool to start teasing you guys of what's actually possible. For this video, guys, let me now jump into the presentation so we can talk about what Airtop actually is and how we can get started. And then we're going to build that exact same agent together from scratch. Now, you guys are also going to get that entire blueprint in the No Code Academy, and we have 2 academies. One is free and one is paid. This blueprint is going to be included in both of the academies. So all you have to do is go and grab that blueprint and you can pick up where we are continuing in this video. And so Airtop, guys, is the future of AI agents because they now have their own computer that you can actually program. So where this first started was actually way back in 2024, when Anthropic actually came out with the computer use. But the problem with Anthropic's computer use is that it wasn't actually programmable via an API. And that's what Airtop allows us to do. So what you're seeing on the screen here are all the different individual tools that you have access to instruct your Airtop agent to go and do things. So we'll start here with the question mark, and that question mark is a query. So the Airtop agent can ask any question that you want on any page on the internet. And so an example of a query could be like landing on an Instagram user's page and asking about all the information. Can you scrape the followers, the likes, the posts? The next one is files. So you can actually store your Airtop agents with files, or you can load it with information before the session actually begins. And so let's say we were doing an Instagram outreach campaign and we wanted to give our agent 100 leads to send Instagram DMs to. Well, we would preload the agent with those leads, and then we would give it the tools necessary to actually go and send all of those messages. Now, the next one is the real-time live feature. So when we were testing out that workflow earlier in this video, you guys were able to see how I grabbed that live view URL and put it in a different browser. What that live view URL allows us to do is debug the agent faster by finding out where it had issues and how we can improve upon it. This next tool here, guys, is a simple typing tool. So while you give it the instructions of where to type, it'll be able to type full-on messages. It can also take screenshots. It can also scroll on the page, and you guys saw that today. And it can actually do a bulk scrape. So let's say we were on a website like Apollo or LinkedIn or a job posting board like Indeed, and we wanted to scrape all of the new information without querying it 100 times. We could just run the smart scrape, which will actually just take the entire context of that website. Now, the most exciting thing about Airtop, guys, is that you can sign in on behalf of your agent to any website on the planet. And so in the use case that you guys saw, the agent was actually signed in on my Instagram account, which gave it access to my DMs, my posts, my engagements. And so there's a whole suite of things that we can do based on the fact that the Airtop agent can actually sign in on your behalf. And this is more or less where I'm actually headed. So think about Instagram DM outreach campaigns, Snapchat campaigns, LinkedIn campaigns, Reddit campaigns, YouTube, Google, Gmail. All of this becomes possible now with Airtop because it has access to its own computer. So let's continue breaking down everything you need to know. And why is this incredibly important? So it bypasses API restrictions. And so the example I want to give here is the Instagram outreach campaign restrictions. Instagram's API doesn't allow anybody to send brand new messages to random people. But now with Airtop, we can give our Airtop agent access to our Instagram DMs, and we can give it a list of leads to then send those messages. So that's an example of how we can now bypass API restrictions to actually do tasks that are extremely valuable for our clients and for ourselves. And now that we know how Airtop works, we might as well go ahead and build that exact same agent from scratch. And so the first thing that we got to do, guys, is actually head to Airtop and set up an account. So I'm in Airtop. I'm going to quickly log in here. And once you get into the portal, you just want to head to the left-hand side where it says API keys. You want to generate your API key, save it somewhere, safe, and move on. The next thing we want to do, guys, before getting into n8n is actually head over to the profiles section. Now, this is where you can preload different profiles with different sign-in accounts. And so here we have my signed in to Twitter account, my signed in to Instagram account, and access to my Google leads. And so if we combine the Instagram agent with the leads agent, for example, it'll be able to do the tasks on Instagram while use the leads on the Google Sheets. And so we're going to start a brand new profile, and we're going to call this Instagram test, and we're going to click create. Cool. So now we can actually enter in the URL that we want to give our agent access to. So we're going to just give it the basic Instagram.com URL here. So we're just going to copy this. We're going to head back over to Airtop, and we're just going to paste in that URL, and we're going to click start session. All right, awesome. So now that the browser's loaded, I'm just going to sign in with that Instagram account. All right, awesome. So we just went through the CAPTCHA, and now this profile has the sign-in information of that Instagram account. And so now that it has that information, we could just click finish, and the Instagram test profile will have that whenever we use it. So now we can head to n8n and we can start building. So the first workflow we're going to create, guys, is the workflow that actually starts the session or opens up a new browser. And so this is going to be something that our AI agent has access to. So we're just going to select the tool that says when executed by another workflow, and we're going to select accept all data. Then we're going to add the first Airtop tool. So we're just going to type in Airtop, we're going to select it, and the thing we want to select in the dropdown is the create a session. Now in the create a session, guys, there's a section called profile name. That is the profile name that we want to put that we just created on Airtop. So the Instagram test profile name that we just created will go into that slot. So we're just going to paste that in, and we can save the profile so that this workflow always uses that profile. The next thing is the idle time. So how long until the agent shuts down if it has nothing to do, and we'll leave it at 10 minutes. For now, everything else looks good. We're just going to click out. We're going to rename this to launch Instagram session, and we're going to click save. Cool. And we can also name this to launch Instagram session. Awesome. So that first workflow is set up. We're going to head back to n8n. We're going to open up another workflow, and this is where our AI agent is actually going to live that has access to all of the Airtop tools. So we're just going to click create workflow, and we're going to click on that first step. And that first step, guys, is going to be an on chat message that we send in to the agent, and we're just going to leave it as is for now. Now, the next step is actually adding in that AI agent. So we're going to type that in. And we're going to leave this as is for the time being. We do have to change things in a sec, but that's okay for now. And we want to add in our chat model. So it doesn't matter which model you use, guys, but the reasoning models for this use case is really, really powerful. And so for us, we're going to use ChatGPT o3 so it can think about all the tools it has access to and all that fun stuff. Now, the next thing we have to do, guys, is add in a system prompt. And so I'm just going to grab the system prompt that we already have, and we're just going to paste it into this new workflow. So we're going to open up the AI agent. We're going to go into the add option. We're going to click system message, and we're just going to copy in this message that says, you are a very powerful agent. You have access to your own computer via a suite of API tools on Airtop. So all you have to do is execute the following plan by using the tools that you have. And then we go, you must always launch Instagram first and then launch the URL. The launch node gives you the ability to do everything else. So that looks good. We're going to click save. And now the first tool we're going to add is the call n8n workflow tool, which actually is the Instagram launch session. So we're going to go into the dropdown here and we're going to select the launch Instagram session. So now we can give it a description. So we can say this tool launches a new session for our Airtop tools to use. This specific workflow launches an Instagram Reels page. And we can click out and we can click save. Now we can rename this to launch Instagram session. Cool. So now that the Instagram session is launched, we need to launch the URL that the agent has access to. So we're going to click tool once again. We're going to go into Airtop. We're going to open up Airtop and we're going to select the resource as window. And the operation is going to create a brand new window for us. Now, the session ID is something that the model can define because it's going to get the session ID from the launch session step that was before that. So the agent is going to get that information and pass it to this node. So all we have to do is click let model define this parameter. The only thing we have to define on this page here is the actual URL that we want the agent to open. So if we head over to Instagram and we head over to Reels, we can use this URL to open up the Instagram Reels on our profile. So if we head back to the n8n and we go to the URL section, we can now feed that in. The next thing we want to do is turn Get Live View to on so that we can actually see what the agent is doing on the screen. And this is going to help us debug and optimize the agent as time goes on. So everything else looks pretty good for now. We're going to click out and we're going to rename this tool to launch Instagram URL. Now, guys, we can start giving it real tools. So the first tool we want to give it is the query. So guys, for the query tool, we want to change the resource from interaction to extraction, and we want to choose the query page. Again, we can choose the session ID and the window ID as defined by the model. So we're just going to click both of those buttons here. And the same thing with the prompt. Now the prompt is the actual question that the agent is asking about the screen. So when you optimize this, you can make this prompt actually static by saying like, scrape all the information on the screen or write down all the followers or write down the concept of the video that you're scraping. In this use case, since we're testing, we're again going to let the model define that parameter. That looks good. We're going to click out. So we're going to rename this to query page. Awesome. So that's our first tool. So now to actually segment the flow, we can also start adding in sticky notes. So this sticky note is just going to be called all tools agent can use. And this row here is going to end up being all of the different tools that we're going to end up adding to this workflow. So right now we have the query a page. Let's add in our next tool. So the next tool from Airtop, guys, is going to be click a page. So if we go into resource, we go into interaction, we can select the operation as click an element. Once again, we're going to change the session ID and window ID to letting the model define those parameters. Cool. So now we have the click interaction. We can just rename that really quick. Awesome. Now let's add the ability for the agent to scroll. So we're going to add Airtop tool. We're going to go into resource, interaction, and instead of click an element, we're going to do scroll. Session ID, let model define it. Window, let model define it. And this might need some fine tuning based on if the agent is actually able to do the scroll or not. So we're going to come back to this for sure, but we're just going to let the agent define all of the parameters for the time being, and we'll click out. We're going to drag in that tool to our stack, and we're going to rename it to scroll. Next one is a screenshot. So we're going to open up the Airtop. So guys, we're going to go into resource, and this one's actually going to be under the window. We're going to go into operation and take a screenshot. We'll let the model define the parameters, and we'll click out. Cool. Now let's let our agent type some stuff. So we're going to go into Airtop. We're going to select that Airtop tool. We're going to go into session, interaction, and we're going to change this one to type. Now, in most use cases for the typing tool, you actually want to tell it what to say. So let's say we gave our AI agent 100 leads to send outbound DMs to. Well, it would be a good idea to actually tell it exactly what to say in that use case, because it's going to be, selling your product to someone. And then from there, you guys can continue the conversation with whoever responds to you guys. So we will fine tune this, but right now we'll just leave it as let model define parameter. Now, this field here is also really, really interesting, where after the text is written, do you want the agent to immediately press the enter key? And in this use case, and in most use cases for writing messages, we do want the agent to write the enter key, to press the enter key, because it is sending messages. So that looks good. We're going to now click out. We'll drag that over to the tool stack. Now we have query a page, which is just asking about one page. But what's really cool about Airtop is that they have a tool called Smart Scrape. And the Smart Scrape tool allows you to scrape multiple pages of a page without having to access all the pages. It's pretty gnarly. And so in this use case, we're going to go resource, extraction, and query page. Instead of query page with pagination, we can do a Smart Scrape, and it just grabs all of that data and marks it as Markdown. And Markdown is a format that our AI models can understand very easily. And so if you're scraping a lot of things, let's say, you would want to use the smart extraction. But if you're just scraping the information on the screen, you can use the square. Cool, guys. So now we need to give the agent the ability to actually shut down the system. And so we're going to go into session. We're going to click the operation as terminate session. And so when the agent finishes its task, or whenever you give it, the final instructions like, hey, send 100 messages. And then when it's done, it'd be good if we shut it down so we don't lose, API credits on Airtop. So we're going to call this terminate session. Awesome. So one more tool we're going to give the agent now is the memory of the previous chats. And this could potentially help it, get better at understanding the workflow over time. It can also just help you understand how the process is going by looking at the previous prompts that you've sent in and see which ones have done well. So awesome. We can also create another sticky note here, and this is basically like the agent's operating system. So it looks like we have most of it set up, and I just want to see what else could possibly be needed here. So for you guys, you're going to have to make your credential accounts connected to your API on Airtop. So you would just click create new credential. You would add in that API key that I showed you guys. But overall, it does look like everything is set up to go. And so now we can actually start testing and debugging. And so what we're going to do is actually just send in a message to the agent prompt. And our goal here is just to simply open up Instagram Reels, get the agent to scroll 5 or 6 times, and then terminate the session. So we're going to say, can you launch the Instagram session, launch the URL, and then scroll on Instagram Reels until you have watched 10 or 5 different videos. And once you finish that, please terminate the session and report back to me with the results. All right, guys, so I actually reached my limit on OpenAI. So we just switched over to the Anthropic chat model, and we're going to send in that message. So can you launch the Instagram session, launch the URL, and then scroll on Instagram Reels until you have watched 3 different videos. Once you finish that, please terminate the session and report back. So we're going to send in that message, and it goes directly to the Anthropic chat model, and then it goes straight to the launch Instagram session. And now I'm going to make this screen half size, because what it's going to do next is actually launch the Instagram URL. So you guys need to see that. So once it does that, we're just going to open up the response here. We're going to grab that URL, and we're going to open it on the left-hand side. Awesome. So the agent has taken its first screenshot. It is now thinking on the right-hand side. It's about to scroll. Let's see what it does. And we can see here that it looks like the scroll step is not working. So we'll give it a couple more seconds, but if it doesn't work, we can start debugging. Oh, it actually was able to scroll. Okay, that is amazing. So it completed the scroll. Let's see what happens next. It scrolled again. See what happens next. Scrolled again. Looks like it's finished up its scrolling. It's now gone back to the Anthropic agent on the right-hand side. All right, awesome. So we're just testing it one more time. I ran out of tokens again with Anthropic, but this time we reloaded it. And so we're just going to see if the end-to-end flow can work. In the last test, it didn't shut down the terminal, but other than that, it was able to work. So our goal now is to see if it's able to do the entire scrolling and then shut down the terminal and tell us what the response was. All right, so the browser's loaded. The agent is thinking about to scroll. Let's see what we get here, guys. Let's see. So just did its first scroll. Just did its second scroll. Just did its third. Now it's going back to the Anthropic chat model. Come on, baby. Browser has been disconnected. It's shutting down the terminal. Oh, guys, we did it. So I'm going to move my camera here so you guys can see that step. It's shutting down that terminal. That is unbelievable. Let's go. And just like that, Node has been executed successfully. It says task completed, launched Instagram, scrolled through the reels, and then terminated the session. And so now we can have it query the information, see if it can like get that, the Instagram scrolling information and stuff like that. And that is how you can fine tune an end-to-end workflow with an Airtop API, which gives your AI agent access to its entire computer and has access to your sign-in information to literally act as if it's you. And so we can try one last thing before we hop off here. We can see if it can query and save the information of the Instagram reels that it's been watching. So we're going to say, okay, that worked perfectly. Now do the same 3 scrolls, but each time I want you to query the page and tell me the data about the reels that you scraped, and then shut down the session. All right, so let's test this out. See if we can get this working with a full-on query scrape. So launching the session, back to Anthropic, launching the URL, back to Anthropic. We're gonna go grab that URL. Paste it in. And let's see if it starts using this. We have the scroll tool and it's using the query tool. So look at that. It's going scroll and query. So let's see what we get in the response. So we just scraped that first page. Now it's scrolled. It's probably going to scrape this page. And guys, we now have a fully autonomous computer agent. And this is just the first one. So in our next videos, I'm going to be showing you guys the completed winning AI agents that we built using Airtop that is going to be a part of our winning offer, which is Creator OS. All right, so it looks like it finished its scrolls, finished its queries, and it's headed back to the Anthropic. Hopefully it then shuts down the terminal. Let's see what we get here. It's starting to terminate the session. Wow, let's full screen the agent now. Let's see what we get in the response here, guys. All right, this looks like the last message here from the chat model that's actually gonna be coming back to us. Boom. In the response here, we can actually open up the query and we can see the content of the third reel is from the Instagram user Mark Thomas Trades. The reel includes original audio by Mark Thomas Trades and has 156,000 views and 1,457 likes. In the first time it queried the page, it didn't get the information perfectly. It said the content of the new reel is not explicitly described. And so these are the fine tunings that we can do. But out of the 3 queries, it was actually able to do one of them successfully. And so we can just trial and error this again and again until we have a fully working agent. But what you guys just saw was a step-by-step breakdown of how to genuinely connect your Airtop computer use agents to your n8n workflows so that they can autonomously complete end-to-end tasks that previously were literally not possible. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.